let me welcome you to today's flight. After a very long time, I believe the last IFR flight was in June, and maybe in the beginning of June or something like that. We are gonna do an IFR flight, even though it's VFR weather today, with maybe some thunderstorms coming later, but we wouldn't be flying in those, neither IFR or VFR. So let's see. The weather page is kind of blank here, or not blank, but we'll also review the weather directly on the website. The latest METARs and TAFs that I could find are for several fields around. Our departure airport actually doesn't have any METAR, but we have Wharton Regional, which is the first one, which is like maybe 20, 30 nautical miles to the northeast. Then we have Victoria Regional, again 20 miles to the west. That's Kilo Victor Charlie Tango. And as you can see, the weather is basically the same. Winds kind of from the northwesterly winds, great visibility, no clouds to speak of, and very high temperatures. So just performance might be an issue. The TAF says basically nothing really scary. No clouds, no high winds, and not even thunderstorms are mentioned here. Destination is KRBO, so Robstown, Nueces County. Current METAR is the same, it's basically the same as our departure, and the field, which is like 10 nautical miles to the east, is Corpus Christi International, and that one has also a TAF. And as you can see, again, nothing scary there. We have winds from the northwest, visibility greater than 6 miles, some broken layer of clouds, but very high. And from 19 Zulu, basically no changes. Rather, instead of broken layers, we have a few clouds layers and a little bit lower. Let's check the aviationweather.gov. Today I will try to go through the new version, beta version. You can see it's experimental, and let's see if it looks better or worse than. Well, it looks better than the old one, but we will still need to learn to navigate in that. So first of all, I have the GRMET at all altitudes. As you can see, there is basically nothing. This blue line is the freezing level, I believe. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Oh, maybe it is. Or there's like it actually might be, yeah. So freezing level or danger of icing. Other than that, we don't really have anything. Let's check the SIGMET. And it's very clear, so nothing around us, not even those thunderstorms. So let's go to proc charts. So we can see we have some, how is it called in English? Mixed front or occlusion front. And some risk of having some rain or chance of some rain, but not very likely. And as you could see, there are basically no clouds to speak of. So very, very low risk of weather. Even though the freezing level is above what we will be flying today, let's check the clouds anyway. So this is for 1834 Zulu, and this is just a forecast. So maybe some broken layers, but very high clouds. If I go a little bit forward, nothing important changes. So overcast layer here at 12,000 feet, again very high for us. What will be more interesting for us when we establish that the weather should not be a problem, at least like a clouds and icing and so on. Let's check the winds. So these are surface winds. We have some winds from blowing from the north, about 10 or 5 knots, as we could see from the METARs. At 3,000 feet, 10 knots wind from the north, 6,000 feet, maybe 10, 15, 20 even. So should be quite all right, and nothing major. So with that, and finding that the weather is fine for conducting today's flight, let's actually move forward. We will be departing Jackson County, just a small strip here in the middle of nowhere. This is how it looks like from the air. This is a VFR sectional of this airport and some basic diagram. We have runways. We have 2 runways there. Runways 15 and 33. And if the winds are blowing as is in the forecast, I believe we're gonna use runway 33 for takeoff. The destination is Nueces County. Again, 2 runways, runway 13 and 31. If the winds hold, and this is the airport, the winds hold, we're gonna use runway 31 most likely. Route planning. So since this is an IFR flight, we're gonna use IFR low charts. There are of course multiple options how to fly that. I tend to keep to the published airways where I have some first, you can see that those airways go around the military operations areas, so that's one thing. Another thing is that you have a guaranteed coverage of NAVAIDS when on the airways, and also guaranteed terrain obstruction. From what you can see from the minimum en route altitude, MEA, it's 1700 along majority of the path. So from that you can deduct that we are flying in a very flat area, and there is basically nothing around as far as terrain goes that could pose a risk for us. This is a navlog prepared as a SkyVector prepares it. You see a lot of waypoints along the way that you can refer to. And you can use those DME marks to identify those waypoints. So either DME arcs or cross radials. So you tune both radios, and at the radial of 233 from Palacios and radial 030 from Corpus Christi VOR, you can identify Ivoli intersection there. I have chosen Corpus Christi as kind of a last point in my flight plan because that's where the approach that I picked starts. When I try to plan an IFR route, so first of all, I will actually go here and review what are my options. So I don't know why but I usually tend to check the arrivals first, to be kind of mindful of from what direction I would be arriving and so on. Okay, I'll just mute you maybe. Okay, it's better. I will check the airport. So I'll go here. Sorry, that's the departure. I'll go here, and I will check what are my options. I can see that it has 2 RNAV procedures, GPS procedures, and 1 VOR DME. I elected to brief the VOR DME today because maybe people are not so much familiar with that one, so it bears to actually go through it. And I could see that I can start this either from Kittu, but in that case I would need to kind of navigate to it somehow. And how I navigate from to it is from Corpus Christi VOR, and you can see that there is a feeder route going from there, and that's why I chosen this VOR as my final point on my flight plan. So knowing that, I go to SkyVector and kind of try to plan the route, and I also review if there are any procedures for 26 Romeo Airport. If I go here, I can see that it has a published instrument procedures. And from that, I know that someone also made an effort and survey to actually map the possible departure procedures. The fact that we don't have any departure procedures listed here doesn't mean that there are no procedures. Those will be listed if there are any in a takeoff minimums publication. And I opened the takeoff minimums publication here and already found the entry for Jackson County. And as you can see, it says takeoff minimums and obstacle departure procedures. Obstacle departure procedures are something like standard instrument departure SIDs that you might be more familiar with. The difference is that in most of the times, the obstacle departure procedures will be only textual. Very few airports, Astoria among them, has actually a graphical obstacle departure procedure published. But most of the airports, if they have any, they would have a textual one. But this particular airport doesn't have any. You can see there are some takeoff obstacle notes. So listing of the kind of obstacles on the departure route or close to the center line and so on. But there are no published obstacle departure procedures. What that means is that the survey or the person that did the survey determined that whatever direction you fly after taking off, whatever direction you fly, if you can keep at least 200 feet per nautical mile ascent or climb gradient, then you are fine and you are safe. If it would not be true for some direction, then some obstacle departure procedure would be listed. As is, for example, let's see, for example, Galveston. You can see it has 4 runways, and one of them has a departure procedure. So if you happen to take off from runway 32, you need to climb heading 318 to 800 before turning left. So that's what you would need to do. And just for a kind of illustration why that is here, I know that it's not part of our route, but let's find GLS here. And it's here, Galveston. Let's go to the World VFR chart. And the departure procedure was for runway 32, which is this one. And they want you to climb to 800 feet first before turning left. So what might be there? I don't see anything obvious on this chart, but maybe those obstacles here might be that. But
it's a suspension bridge ahead. The bridge.
Oh yeah, suspension bridge. But it still says climb to 800 feet before turning left. So that means that the departure procedure is only if you want to turn left. If you want to turn right, you don't need to climb to 800 feet. So hard to say why that is. It might be because of that, but in that case, I would expect some procedures even here. Hard to say. Maybe not the best example. Usually there is something more visible. But anyway, so yeah. So no departure procedure. So we are free to do whatever we want. I'll go back to my route. There we go. So if I depart north, I will just say myself, okay, well, I want to avoid this MOA. I myself will also simulate the aircraft that doesn't have any GPS. It's more fun in the simulator. So I'll turn right. Maybe I'll go direct Palacios, but maybe I'll go a little bit more right and just try to join this radial. In real life, you would most likely receive some vectors to join this Victor Airway, and then you would be told to resume your own navigation. All right, so that's route. We covered departure, like how we would fly it. However, here we have 3 sections of possible radio calls. The first one is the very standard VATSIM one when there is no ATC coverage. So most likely we will be using this one. However, when departing IFR at the untowered field, which the Jackson County is, we have 2 options. We either get the IFR clearance already on the ground, or we can depart under VFR rules and activate our IFR plan in the air. So both options are perfectly fine. And me mentioning the untowered airport is actually the other reason why some airports will have SIDs and some airports will have just ODPs, which are those obstacle departure procedures. SID procedures are always assigned by ATC and by ATC on the ground. Since this is untowered field, there is no one to assign you an SID, and hence the only ODP is your option. So the first paragraph here is this is about if you depart VFR and just ask for IFR clearance once in the air, something like is a type call sign. Of course, you start with like the same as here, like for example, Houston Center or Fort Worth Center or whichever center is controlling this area. Your call sign, and then you tell them something like good day or something, and when they tell you go ahead, you can request the clearance. So you say what type aircraft, a type aircraft that you are, not necessarily if you filed an IFR plan and you use your call sign, this is information that they already have. So you don't need to mention it, but you can. But what you need to mention is your position and altitude. So this is lateral position and vertical position, and that you want IFR clearance to our destination. The reason you say position and altitude is so they can find you on the radar. First thing they usually do is to assign you a squawk code. You read that back, and then when you have when they see you on the radar and they identified you, they will give you the clearance. So either they will give it to directly, like radar contact, position is reported, and start getting you the clearance, or they might tell you, I have a clearance for you, advice ready to copy. In that case, you say ready to copy, and they will tell you your clearance. Have your paper and pen ready to write that down. Few people can remember that, especially when they are flying. If you ask for an IFR clearance already on the ground, then you can actually go to this page, and in the chart supplement you can find how to get the clearance. So in real life, a clearance delivery phone is Houston ARTCC, and there is a phone number. So you would normally not, you might be able to read to Houston Center, for example, but let's say that the phone is preferred option here. If they would want you to use the radio to get the clearance, it would be mentioned here as well. But on VATSIM, if we have a Houston Center controller, then you could call them and ask for a clearance. And you do that exactly the same way as if you are on the towered field. So you say, again, Houston Center, November 123 Alpha Bravo, by the hangar at 26 Romeo, IFR to Nueces County. And if it's some smaller airport, you might be well to actually spell it out for them. So Kilo Romeo Bravo Oscar, if my memory serves me. They will clear you to the destination. They can tell you clear to destination as filed because they basically don't have anything to give you at this point. You need to depart yourself anyway. What they will tell you on the untowered field is something like hold for release. The reason is very simple. There is a one in, one out rule on the untowered fields. Imagine that you are really flying in IMC conditions. You don't see anything outside. And if you are using untowered field, at any time, that can be only one aircraft cleared for the instrument departure or instrument arrival. If multiple aircraft are coming to the same airport at the same time, they will not clear the second one until the first one is either on the ground and they cancelled the IFR flight plan, or they cancelled that IFR flight plan already in the air. And we will come to that at the arrival section. So you hold that back, read that back, and then you prepare yourself. You go back to Unicom on VATSIM. You prepare yourself, you taxi, and when you are number one for takeoff, you call them that you are ready for IFR departure. And now comes something that might be quite daunting for anyone that does it for the first time, because this, what you can see, is the format in which you can receive your released for departure clearance. So they will tell you time now is, and they will tell you, for example, 1853 Zulu. You are released for departure. Clearance void at, and they will tell you another time, maybe 1905 Zulu. If not off by that time, advise on this frequency of intentions by no later than, and again, time. And report airborne on this frequency, change to advisory frequency approved. So, and this is usually actually done in 2 calls. So they will read you that clearance up until here, that what you should do if you do not take off. And what you need to read back is that you are released for departure and definitely the clearance void time. That means that if you are not off by the clearance void time, that the clearance is void, as it says, and you are not allowed to take off anymore under IFR. Then if you read that back correctly, they can again tell you read back correct, and then will tell you report airborne on this frequency, change to advisory frequency approved. This is important because they cleared you. Now you are the only one under IFR conditions or rules that is departing or arriving to the airport. And you need to go back to the CTAF or Unicom frequency and actually, again, self-announce what you are doing to possible traffic around you. Any questions regarding this? And I will unmute Zeget again. Sorry, I muted you before because there was some noise from you. You are unmuted. Okay, if no questions now, let's move forward to en route and arrival. Of course, you're flying IFR, so imagine that you are en route and the controller actually doesn't know what you are planning to do. If you want to fly GPS approach, or if you want to fly ILS or VOR, or even visual, whatever is possible. Today's conditions are good enough for visual approaches, but we do all those visual approaches all the time when flying VFR. So today, let's try to keep our either head down for those who dare, or just try to follow the procedure anyway. And you can proactively request the approach. So let's say that you are flying along, let's say you are by Aust maybe, so it's about still more, let's say 25 nautical miles. Yeah, It's actually written here, 25 nautical miles, and you already want to prepare yourself for the approach. So you can call them up and say, that you have an approach request. And it's like November 123 Alpha Bravo approach request. And then they will tell you go ahead and you request the approach. In this case, I would request the VOR 1 approach. Then they can issue some vectors, or you can even request the full approach right at the beginning, informing them that maybe it's for training purposes that you want to fly the whole procedure and not be vectored. Because I imagine that if you're flying on VATSIM IFR, with the big birds all the time, you are fed, like you're already like full of vectors, so maybe you don't need them this time. Depends on you. And they can tell you something like, when they're clearing you for the approach, that you need to cross a certain fix. In that case, it might be that the VOR, this Corpus Christi VOR, so they can tell you Corpus Christi VOR at 6,000 feet, or at or above 6,000 feet, cleared VOR 1 approach. You just read that back, of course, and when you cross that VOR, you are free to descend as you will, and so on. What might be also different for someone who doesn't often fly into the untowered fields under the ATC control is actually how they handle you before you land. The thing is that, again, they cannot clear you to land. They cannot clear you to, to the traffic pattern or whatever. So once you are established, for example, on the final or in the approach or on the final course to the airport or something, ATC decides when that's going to happen. They will tell you something like, report IFR cancellation or missed approach on this frequency, change to advisory frequency approved. So you just tell them that you will do that and that the change is approved. And now you have those two options. If you already know for a fact that you can complete the flight in visual conditions, you are free to cancel that IFR flight plan already in the air. There are like two main advantages to that. First is, from that point on, you don't need to fly the whole approach. You can just do, standard thing as you want. The second thing is that you will clear them or you will allow them to clear another aircraft for the approach or departure, as long as you cancel at IFR. So if the weather conditions are good enough, and even if you plan to finish the whole procedure, it's better to cancel that IFR flight plan in the air, especially if we are flying in the group and there would be a controller around. Okay, the approach itself. Since we covered you have been released from radar services already by the en route controller, so the arrival is actually the same as to any with any VFR flight. What I would like to stress is that if you are announcing yourself by radio, self-announcing yourself, do not use phrases like November 123 Alpha Bravo, I'm at Kitchu intersection, flying to Mums. If I am a VFR pilot, in the pattern, I have no way of knowing what you are talking about. So just refer, with the altitude. So if you are over Kitchu, you know that you are, how far is it? Kitchu, that's 5, 3 plus 2. So you are 10 miles from the airport. So you say, November 123 Alpha Bravo, 10 miles southwest of the airport at 2,000 feet. We'll be joining whatever here. Let's say that you might have noticed that this approach is actually not to any particular runway. So it's actually not VOR 1, it's VOR DME Alpha. That means it doesn't have any runway and the only option is circling maneuver. So we can say I'm 10 miles southwest of the field. We'll be joining left downwind for runway 31, for example. that will give that information to other people much better than if you start, reciting what fixes you are, at and so on. So just have it in mind. Now, how to fly that approach? I will actually open it here. So we notice the important stuff here. We make sure that we have the actual, plate. It's valid from 10 of 10 of August 23 to 7th of September 23. So this is the actual one. The VOR check frequency is 115.5. Final approach course is 051. There is no runway landing and touchdown zone elevation because again, this is not a particular runway connected approach, but the airport elevation is 80 feet. When local altimeter is not received, we should use Corpus Christi International altimeter setting. Remember, that's the field 10 miles to the east. And it doesn't say anything about raising the minima, so they determine that the Corpus Christi International is close enough that you don't need to raise the minima. And important, circling not authorized northeast of runway 1331. So that means that we should stay on this side of the field and we should not circle here. Again, it's probably obvious there are some obstacles there, so really not authorized. Missed approach is climbing left turn to 2000 via Corpus Christi radial 231, again to Kitchu CRP to Kitchu intersection or CRP 25 DME and hold. So that means if we go missed approach, then we circle back, join the radial, fly to Kitchu, which is 25 DME from a CRP, and we enter the hold. Is there someone who can tell me what's the missed approach point? At which position or at which kind of phase you should begin the missed approach? And consider that you are in IMC conditions, so you cannot see the runway. Any guesses?
So you have to time it.
Not in this case.
Oh, no, the DME readout.
DME readout, exactly. So missed approach procedure starts when the solid line ends and the dotted line begins. And it's at 15.1 DME. So if you are at 15.1 DME and you don't have a runway environment in sight, you execute the missed approach procedure. Right, but how to fly it actually? So we'll be joining from Corpus Christi, at least I will be. You can see that the en route minimum en route altitude is 2000 feet all the way to Kitchu. That doesn't mean you need to fly at 2000. Plan your descent. You are free to descend all the way to here to MAMS. So you know that your final altitude is 1700 feet for your final approach fix here. So just plan your descent in a way that you don't need to fly low unnecessarily long. So you need to know your performance, how long it will take you to descend, at what speed, and so on and so forth. So from Kitchu, I will fly a 231 radial for 25 miles all the way to Kitchu. And then I need to do the procedure turn to align myself back to the airport because the airport is here. So when flying, I will actually overfly it. From the vertical profile, I can see that all the way to Kitchu, I need to be at least 2000 feet, which is the minimum entry altitude here. And once I finish the turn maneuver, not once I finish, but I can actually descend to 1700 feet already when I pass Kitchu on the outbound leg. If I needed to stay at 2000 feet for this until I am established back, then this line would be horizontal, and then there would be line down to 1700 feet. So I can start descending to 1700 once I cross Kitchu. Again, I see no reason to do that because I have a lot of time to actually descend to 1700 from if I am already at 2000 at Kitchu. This is just one of the recommended procedures, right? So you fly a little while, then you turn right to 276, then you do either right turn or left turn, to 096 after like 1 minute flying, and rejoin the inbound course of 051 to this VOR. This is just one of the recommended procedure. You are legally allowed to do any kind of maneuver on this side of the procedure turn to actually, align you back. But it's probably not necessary to do some crazy flying. You don't want to burn too much gas and so on.
So what's the approach in simple terms?
Come again?
What's a misapproach in simple terms?
Okay.
It's basically a go around.
Yeah, I will come to that when I finish this. All right. Okay. So and since this is kind of a flat, as you can see that from Kichu, it says that you should. Graphically it says that you should fly some way, but you don't need to. You can cross Kichu and immediately start the procedure turn if you are low enough. So for example, I turn right, then I turn left, rejoin that, and I still have plenty time, like 5 nautical miles, to get to my final approach fix, and I don't need to do any more descent, for example. So it's not like I would start the final approach fix from Kichu, so I need to allow myself a lot of time here. So 1,700 feet all the way to Mums, and then I am allowed to start the descent. Next altitude is 860 feet at CRP DME 17, 17. And then after I cross the 17 mark, I am allowed to descend all the way to my minimums, which are 660. As you can see, this approach is not really available for class C or D aircraft, but I believe that all of us will be flying A or B here. So no Boeings there and so on. So 660 is our minimum descent altitude. The circling maneuver itself, it's any maneuver that will get you to the runway. ATC will not clear you for the circling approach at untowered field because you are already on Unicom or CTAF, so they don't have any control over you. If this would be a towered airport, the circling maneuver would need to be cleared for. You would need to be cleared for that by the tower. But on the untowered field, you're not going to receive the clearance for a circling approach. So any kind of maneuver that will get you to 3-1 or 1-3, I would recommend, standard traffic pattern if you can make it. It will make it easier for some aircraft that can be in the pattern already. There is, of course, one limitation that was here in the notes, that circling is not authorized northeast of runway 1331. And that's because of those obstacles. And as Zeget asked, if you fly and you are at 15.1 DME and you don't have runway in sight, then you execute the missed approach. So full power, climbing left turn to 2,000 feet, join the 231 radial out of Corpus Christi, fly it to the 25 DME and hold as published here. So inbound course 051, fix is Kichu, holding is south or south, and right turns. 1 minute holds.
So question.
Yes.
This is for these waypoints are for GPS navigation. If I don't have GPS, if I only have VOR equipment, how do I navigate around all these waypoints, Kichu and Mums?
Kichu is on the 231 radial from Corpus Christi at 25 DME. That's how I will identify this.
DME,
distance measuring
this
equipment.
is measuring equipment to VOR or to the airfield?
To the VOR, it's a CRP 25. So this flag is connected to the CRP, which is the Corpus Christi VOR.
Oh, okay. So the DME is basically distance measuring equipment on the VOR. So I tune into the VOR, and my DME indicator gives me the direction. Okay. So basically, then I just get myself on 051 radial, no, 231 radial, and just then monitor the distance and the
Yes.
corresponding altitudes. Okay.
Yes. And that also brings me to one important thing. If you don't have a GPS and if you really tune on the radios and just the frequency, every time before you use any radio navigate, you need to positively identify that navigate. So if you tune the frequency, that's not enough because you might be receiving some other VOR, elsewhere on the same frequency. So it's very important. If you have, for example, some, I will show you, for example, I have this, so I will turn, I don't use the map, for this flight, but I can tune the radios, and when I tune that radio, it will spell that identification CRP for me. So that's positive identification. Another one is you can enable the audio on your navigational radio and listen for the Morse code. And if you hear this Morse code, then you confirm that the VOR is positively identified. And remember to do that every time you tune any radio navigate, either VOR or DME or NDB. Always, make a positive identification of it. It already happened to me in the simulator that it kind of captured another one.
DME is actually collocated with VORs, correct?
Not always, but in this case, yes.
Okay.
There can be
If I may say something that when you have a VOR DME approach, it is expected that you are going to execute it with using a VOR DME instrument, not GPS. Hence, all the points are going to be referred to a VOR DME, and you are expected to execute it using a VOR DME. Now, there are some planes with, let's say, the G1000 where they can also fly it with the Garmin, and in theory, it is also more accurate, but the approach plate says VOR DME. That is the instrument you expected to use.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I read somewhere that actually if you have properly certified GPS unit, that you can even use that legally, and not even tune the
Yes,
VOR frequencies.
yes, I agree that that is the exception. But what I'm trying to say is that the whole thing is defined to be used by VOR BDME, because the question was, what if I don't have GPS?
Yeah, of
But
course.
nobody expects you to have a GPS because the approach is VOR DME.
Yes, that's correct. So you can always use that. Of course, what Spiros said, it's intended to fly it like that, but of course we are in the modern age, so even those approaches are now legal to fly using only GPS. Again, both aircraft and the equipment needs to be certified for that, and you need to know how to use it. And that's why we also have those GPS, points here and fixes.
So on the approach, the CRP, it's Corpus Christi. Okay, so this is basically the CRP means at the Kichu I will have CRP at 25 miles. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, if now that we're going to do the group flight, the first one arrives and it says I'm going to cancel IFR before attempting the approach, and the second one also says I'm going to cancel the IFR and before I attempt the approach, and we end up with 3 or 4 people actually attempting the approach.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind of something that you don't usually experience in real life. So it's gonna be again something like on VATSIM. I would say that we just need to do our best, to kind of self-direct ourselves. So be cautious, maybe don't descend unnecessarily early. I would say that let's stay at least at 3,000 feet before reaching Kitchu. Just an agreement between us, so the inbound aircrafts can descend under you. In real life, you would never be cleared
Yeah.
for the same approach, like multiple aircraft, but here we can do it.
And I would say that exactly in real life, I won't be giving the courtesy to the second plane. I'm already going to go into an untowered approach airport with an non-precision approach. I'm going to expect that there might be some crazy people actually doing patterns there. I don't want another pain in my head, and I will not cancel the IFR. I would like to be the only one executing the approach. If I cancel the IFR, I'm expected that I will go VFR and join the pattern.
Yes, that's true. But again, here on VATSIM, especially if multiple of us are flying, we just need to kind of, how to say it, agree between ourselves, and self-direct ourselves. The space around the airport will be probably more busy than it is ever in real life.
If we want for practice, we can go to Kitsu, which is actually not. It's a holding pattern anyway, so we can use it as a and one by one. If it
Yeah, you can use any kind of fix for holding. This is like a holding pattern for missed approach procedure. It's not a published holding pattern, normally. But yeah, of course you can use you can hold here.
we
Or
can
you can
agree
hold
between
here.
us to use, let's say, one of these if we end up
Yeah, we
doing
can.
too many.
We can definitely. If I if I know that there's some slower aircraft before me, then of course I will delay myself. I will do a holding pattern, announce it, and so on. I remember when we were coming actually in IMC conditions into some airport, it was like 4 of us coming at the same time. We were able to, deal with that on radio just fine. So I'm confident that we will be able to do that as well today.
And maybe somebody wants to do visual approach.
Maybe.
Or the RNAV.
Or the RNF, yes. Anyway, I will be here for the whole flight. I will be flying myself, so if I don't answer immediately, if you ask something, that means I'm busy and I will answer when I can. But feel free, to reach out here on Discord to me. I, again, as always, encourage everyone to fly. If for some reason you don't feel like it, you are free to watch my stream instead on Twitch that I will be starting momentarily. And yeah.
So do we spawn? Do we join? VATSIM? Do we launch vPilot, or we just
Yep.
stay on Discord?
Yeah, that's him. Unless if you want to fly alone, not seeing anyone, then
Okay.
you don't join VATSIM, but you would lose quite an experience, I believe.
Okay.
And remember, it's an IFR flight, so you need to file flight plan as well.
But what
for
if
example, this is my
this?
flight plan. Yeah.
Hello.
What if it's a bit overwhelming for some newcomers to fly the IFR? I guess they could just fly VFR.
Of course. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Simon.
When I filed the flight plan on SimBrief, it told me it was a VFR. Like it automatically chose VFR. So what do I do now?
I don't know. I don't use SimBrief, so I'll just using here or the VATSIM website. You just choose whatever you want. I believe you have an option to change it. But sorry, I cannot help you really with that. I don't use that software. Yeah, and as Klaus said, if someone wants to fly it under VFR rules, be my guest. There is no rule that you need to file an IFR flight plan.
Okay, I'll fly VFR since I don't have a GPS and this is, I haven't filed IFR yet.
Yeah, I don't have GPS either. Actually, I have, but I won't be using it, so it's perfectly possible. But yeah, feel free to fly a VFR if you want.
Again, let me clarify. IFR is not GPS only. Okay.
No.
IFR is VOR, is ADF, is all of this thing. If you don't have a GPS, it's fine. You can still fly IFR.
And it's more fun.
So where do I put the remark that I'm a new to VATSIM?
To
notes?
remarks, I believe you can do something like this. Remark new on VATSIM, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like proper to do it like that, but I believe you can do it, and everyone will understand.
Oh, so basically I can file fly plan in the vPilot, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, any questions? You know, you can ask me before, during, or after the flight, because I will be here also, you know, in the end. And in the meantime, happy flying.
Happy flying.
Happy flying.
All right, so let's first start the aircraft. Yeah, anti-collisions are already up. That's good.
Clear prop.
Prop, yes. Oh, they're already going. Nice. All right, let's turn on the fuel pumps to low. Very good. I won't be using the GPS and I won't be using the map. Okay, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Yes, this one. Autopilot is it off? Oh, there was lightning. Must be new. So, I will tune Squawk 2000 and let's set up the radios. First navigate that I'm gonna use is the Palacios VOR, which is 117.3. So let's tune that in. 4173. PSX, let's see. PSX, good. The other one will be a 115.5. So let's first do it also here, 1155. Just to stand by. And there I will tune it 1155 to the active. And my second VOR is there. CRP, okay, it's already identified. That's kind of strange, but maybe it's taken from the database. There's my timer. So let's reset. Oh, I have lightnings. So I see they added lightnings to MSFS. The problem is they are shooting out of the clear sky.
Yeah, I just saw one.
Also from the clear sky?
Yep.
Yeah, good. So,
Jackson County traffic, code at 36 Foxtrot, departing on the 33 left downwind departure. Jackson County.
So still some work to do on the lightning. Okay, radios. So first let's tune 030 there, and I'll actually use the
Jackson County traffic, November 91 Bravo Charlie, Cessna 172 at the ramp, taxiing to runway 33, Jackson County.
030, so that's about that. And for the VOR itself, oh, not this one, sorry, that's gonna be 233. And that's outbound. So again, use 233.
Jackson County traffic, extra 4050 Victor, 2 miles east, 3000, overflying the field, southwest bound at 3000, Jackson County.
All right, I believe we are ready with the navigation equipment. Next we need to, oh, there we go. Next we need to select the correct altimeter. So the elevation of the field is 62 feet. So 62 feet, that's about there. And altimeter is 298. Let's confirm that with the nearby METARs.
Jackson County traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, turning left crosswind, runway 33, Jackson County.
That's actually good, right in the middle. So let's use it like that. Okay, so we're gonna do a straight departure, then turn right and try to join this this radial, roughly the course of 179. More precisely, I will generate a navlog for myself again.
Jackson County traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, turning left downwind, runway 33, Jackson County.
It's gonna be I-179, basically due south. All right. Jackson County traffic, Cessna 310 on the apron by the hangars, taxiing to runway 33, Jackson County. Okay, that was right in the face. Doesn't want to turn today.
Jackson County traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, downwind runway 33, 1300, climbing 6500, departing southeast, final call, Jackson County.
Okay, I'll put myself a little bit sideways so I don't blow people behind me when I'm doing the run-up. So, everything
Jackson
green.
County traffic, November 91 Power Charlie, lining up and taking off runway 33 for left downwind departure, Jackson County.
Let's check the magnetos. Those are good, 50 RPM drop. The second pair, again, 50 RPM drop. Better. Looks to be working. Fine. 13, 1200, good. Put it back up. Check idle. Very good. Let's flip it back. Flight controls. Yeah, they are
Jackson
good.
County, traffic number 692 Delta, the hangar is taxiing runway 33, Jackson County.
Okay, they just departed, so let's wait a bit. Jackson County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, departing runway 33. It will be a right-hand turn after departure. Jackson County. Okay, strobe lights, landing lights. Nobody at the approach. Let's go. We're gonna do flaps 15 takeoff today. It's a hot day.
Jackson County, 91 Bravo Charlie, left downwind 33, Jackson County.
And let's go. Airspeed is live. Hit the brakes. Positive right, so gear up. Flaps up.
Jackson County traffic, 91 Bravo Charlie, leaving the pattern at left downwind runway 33 to the south at 1,500 feet, final call, Jackson County.
Of course,
I'm so sorry I didn't file a flight plan. My keyboard just stopped working and I was standing in front of another aircraft, so I had to taxi to the runway and take off without asking for clearance or anything.
Jackson County traffic number 692 Delta, taking off runway 33, left 45 departure, Jacksonville County.
Fuel pumps off. And let's just climb away. So I have the DME-A readout already, and I will fly this direction until I can join the radio. It's a very hot day, it doesn't want to climb.
Jackson County, November 692 Delta, passing 1,500, climbing 6,000, westbound departure, final call, Jackson.
I'll speed up a little bit. Want to maintain around 120 knots in the climb. So let's see if I can.
Jackson County, November 8252 Tango, at parking, ready to taxi for departure to Nueces County via runway 33, Jackson County.
Yeah, that's just a cruise climb there. Temperature is dropping, that's good. Okay, last 500 feet to climb. There we go. So let's accelerate. Just ease up on the power. And then fine tune so I can keep my true airspeed that I planned for. Just need to calculate that, of course. So temperature is around 20 degrees, pressure altitude 6,000 feet. So 20 degrees at 6,000 feet, 10, 20, there we go. So to fly 170, actually, yeah. So to fly 170, I need to have like 150. So I'm too fast right now. Look, I can allow myself to slow down a little bit. Oh, that looks like a good, maybe altocumulus, maybe even starting to be a cumulonimbus there, based on the color. There seems to be some activity below that. Alright, so fuel looking good. Lights, all that I need. And let's keep flying straight while I check that. And let's try to keep altitude. So the needle is moving. So I'm almost at the 231 radial. Distance is 15 nautical miles. That would put me, maybe I'll hit 10 actually. Let's see.
Nueces County traffic, November 825 to Tango, entering runway 33 for straight out departure, Nueces County.
There we go. Let's see what the winds are like. The winds will be roughly 340, so from the right. So I will need to turn a little bit to the right to compensate for those. And 70 miles, so I'll just reset my timer. It was 10 minutes and a half. 5631, yeah, about that. A little bit slower now, but that's all right. Actually, what was the calculated wind correction angle there? +5. Okay. So my final heading will be like this. Oh, it's +10. I looked wrongly. Magnetic heading 243. Okay, yeah. So. That's strange. Should I fly 231? No, I should fly 233. I'm flying 233. Okay. Anyway, magnetic heading 243. Like 10 degrees, yeah. The other VOR is active as well. Let's check the DME on that one. 56, good. So basically when I'm 38 DME from Palacios, it's time to turn, and at that point it should also center this needle. But keeping nicely on that radial, the arrow is centered. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. It's nice and quiet. Should probably be a little bit faster. So let's see if I can increase the power a bit. I hate this when suddenly this rectangle becomes visible around it. Yes, that's the speed I want to be at. 150 indicated to give me a 170 true airspeed. Okay, 3 more miles. Then we'll turn slightly left. Needle is almost centered there. So let's try 210. And the magnetic heading that, again, not this one. Magnetic heading will be 221. So, up there. And this time we need to keep this one centered. Now prepare this one for 231 radio that will be running out of that VOR. But basically, if I want to be descending about 500 feet per minute, that means that to 3000 to Kichi it takes me 6 minutes to descend. And 6 minutes at 170 true airspeed. Let's calculate that. So 170 true airspeed. It's actually 6 minutes, so 17 miles. I could have guessed, actually. Why I keep opening that one? Yeah, 6 minutes, 170, so 17 miles. And if I want to lose 17 miles all the way to actually, let's keep the approach plate to Kitchu, to 3000. Well, actually, I can a little bit later. So let's say, and let's fly straight when we do this. Let's say that I want to start descending maybe, let's say 10 miles. No. Let's do it 17, so 8 miles from Kitchu. Right, I'm keeping this this needle centered here. And let's switch to the second DME. So I want to know how far I am from it. And my ground speed is 176. Yeah, because of course it's ground speed that matters. So yeah, let's say that 5 miles from that I will start descending to 500 feet per minute. So I reach some reasonable altitude by the time I reach that 25 DME from CRP. Little bit right of the course, so let's correct. And of course I haven't reset my timer, that's so typical of me. So I'm now at 30 miles. So when I'm 25 I will be at Osts. Okay, let's try to fly this heading. We'll see. Okay, I'm back on track, I believe. So let's correct the heading. Five hosts. Next one will be VOR at 16. Again, needle goes a little bit to the left, so let's fly a better correction to the left. Let's check if we don't have any controller. No, still no controller. So we are cruising along. So the needle becomes more sensitive as we approach 16 miles. That means we have passed the VOR. Next is Rocky. And we have accelerated a little bit. Nice and centered here. Engines running well. Fuel plenty. Needle is centered. And we have 9 miles up until the VOR station. 9 miles, I believe that's someplace there, actually. ILS to KRBO, I don't think so. Okay, needle starts to deviate. Let's try to correct while I can. Is that? Simon, if you are here with us, KRBO doesn't have ILS, so I wonder how you're gonna fly one. So now we want to fly the 231 radio. And the estimated heading on this will be 234. But first I need to capture that radio. So as I said, when I reach 5 DME or maybe 6 or 7, I'll start my shallow descent. Before commencing that, I'll already turn on my fuel pumps to low. So it started descending in and of itself. Good. I can start descending, so let's just reduce power a bit and wait what it does. We'll need to help it a bit, doesn't want to descend. Must be some crazy thermals. My nose down. It wants to climb. Yeah, those are some crazy thermals there. There was the alarm for throttles too low. Okay, now it starts to descend, so let's put it under a little bit of power.
Roughtown traffic, November 36 Foxtrot, as a type, Doha Kodiak, 12 miles southeast, 2200, RNF runway 31, Roughtown.
The airport must be someplace below me, I guess. Must be right below me. We're flying this approach. So at 25 we are allowed to do the procedure turn. Course reversal. of course, we should have picked up the weather by now, so let's see. Yeah, so the winds are for runway 331 to 981. You already have that. I'll stay at 3000. For now.
Roughtown traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, 5 mile final, runway 31, Roughtown.
Okay, 25. So I'm actually gonna do the course reversal already. So first 276 or something. Let's turn there and start descending. And let's start the timer. Meantime, let's reverse the course to 251. Okay, 1 minute. Let's make a turn.
Roughtown traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, clear of runway 31, Roughtown.
Okay, we are established on the final approach course. Nueces County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo is a twin Cessna, currently 10 miles to the southwest of the field at 2,000 feet. Will be joining a left downwind of runway 31. Nueces traffic. So now we can descend to 1,700 until 20 DME and then 860 to 17 DME. It's beautiful rich. Let's turn on the landing lights. So 1700. Let's stay at this altitude. And then when we reach 20 DME we can descend to 860. And when we are beyond 17 then it's 660. So push our props a little bit forward. So that's 20 DME. So let's bring it down to 860. It's 60. A little bit below. There we go. $17 DME. Let's drop to 660 and look for the field.
Corpus Christi International, November 825 Tango. Beechcraft November 825 Tango. 5 miles northeast from Corpus Christi VOR at 4,500 feet, inbound for Nueces County.
Nueces County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, joining left downwind runway 31, lower downwind at 700 feet. Nueces. Okay. Be tight turn.
Nueces County traffic, November 692 Delta, 2,000 feet over Corpus Christi VOR on the VOR DME approach Nueces traffic.
Let's drop the flaps, props forward.
Nueces County traffic, November 91 about Charlie, just 172, 5,500 feet at the Corpus Christi VOR inbound for the VOR DME, Nueces County.
Nueces County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo turning final, runway 31, full stop landing, Nueces County. Okay, let's drop full flaps. High. Nueces County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo backtracking, runway 31, Nueces County.
The Challenger signal in Texas.
Nueces County traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo vacated runway 31, Nueces traffic. All right, parking brake. Taxi lights go off.
Nueces County traffic, November 825 to Tango, 10 miles to the east at 4,500 feet, descending to 3,000 feet for full stop landing at runway 31.
Alright, let's shut it down. So, that was finally some IFR flight under visual conditions, but still, according to the instruments. Let's try to quickly review. Yeah, looks like that it was flown quite alright. This looks like the path that I first planned, so I'm happy with this. They are very close to each other. Used to be a 300 extra, is it? Let's see who that is. Place in 300. Oh, that's not that one. Joshua. Okay, so thank you for watching. We'll see when the next flight will be held. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, happy flying.